It's time for a little something. I forget. My notes say I'm Professor Robert E.G. Black, and I'm here with Dave Pallas and Sean German from 5 Minutes of Mystery and Next Scene Podcast. And it's time to discuss Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But they're erasing me, and I have no memory of any of this. So, hello?
Hey.
Hey.
I don't know. You had your intro. I was like, I don't know what he wants me to come in at. I'll say this at the top of the thing. Never seen this film, and I watched the trailer for it over the weekend, and I said, I don't know if I'm allowed to watch this film. You ever get that feeling where you feel like this movie is too smart for me and I'm not allowed to watch it? Like, that's the feeling I get. It's kind of like if someone said, hey, are you going to go to like the Apollo to watch comedy? I go, I don't think I'm allowed to watch. I can walk in and like legally I'm allowed to sit and enjoy the show. But there's like that unspoken rule of I'm not allowed to be there to experience art that way. That's how I feel when I watch the trailer for this film. I'm like, no, I'm not allowed to watch this. Just put Speed on. That's fine. That's
your level.
Yeah. I can watch a bus go 55 miles per hour. Yeah, no problem. But it's like, ooh, this I don't know if I'm allowed.
How about you, Sean? You've seen this, right?
Yes.
Is this
I'm trying to think?
Which one did you just watch for the first time, or had you seen all three before?
I had seen all three before.
Okay,
but Ex Machina I saw very recently, maybe last year or the year before. Saw it for the first time. This I did see. I did not see it in the theater. I saw it, a few years later after it came out on home video. And I had a not too dissimilar reaction that Dave had of like, this seems kind of interesting. This seems kind of quirky, but I don't know if it's for me.
Huh.
And then when I saw it, I'm like, you know what? I think it is for me. I think I do understand it, or I'm at least qualified to watch it. And I think, Dave, you are qualified to watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. If you haven't seen the whole thing yet.
No.
You should check it out.
This one is officially my favorite film.
Oh, okay.
And officially, I mean by it was in my breakdown of my favorite films and Cock and Bull Minute. I didn't actually end up finishing talking about every single film in that final 36.
I was going to say, I didn't remember you finishing that bracket.
No, I didn't finish the bracket, but it was part of the point was that I couldn't finish the bracket. I didn't want to pick favorite films. I don't like ranking things. But when people ask, this is usually the one I say, especially with my like students who a lot of time are like fairly young and have never heard of anything.
Yeah.
Because the title alone, they're like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, go find out.
I was like, do they even know that like Jim Carrey was known for
Do they even know who
wild
Jim
shenanigans?
Carrey is anymore?
Yeah, that's true. They would be like, oh, he's Robotnik. Like,
yeah,
I guess he is.
There you go. Did you ever see that live action Grinch? That one one of the live action Grinch.
One of the live action Grinch.
Wow.
Because they did one with Michael Myers. Or Mike Myers, not Michael Myers. That's a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. that you also
did.
Yeah. Michael Myers, yes. Always be plugging, as Sean said yesterday.
Yeah. But this is great. I mean, this has got some of my favorite performances from a lot of these actors, but I think this is probably my favorite Jim Carrey performance. I think this is one of the better. I mean, Kate Winslet is great in everything, but I think, particularly she does a really good job. Tom Wilkinson, Kirsten Dunst. So, I mean, in terms of favorite films, this is good. This is a good one.
Now, I don't know if either of you made this connection, but what does Joel wake up in?
A bed.
Well, a fold-out bed of a couch.
Yeah, the fold-out couch.
Let me rephrase. What is he wearing?
He's wearing pajamas.
What color are they?
Is he wearing socks? No, is he just got weird feet?
What color are his pajamas?
Well, he's got
black.
I think he's got, I would say dark blue pajamas. I mean, if you're trying to say that they look like Phil Connor's pajamas,
yes,
I'll give you that. Yeah. They're not, when it comes to Jim Carrey pajamas, they're nowhere close to the Stanley Ipkiss pajamas. Now that I'm an expert in. Want to bring me on for the Mask Minute? I'll be there all day. That I'm an expert in.
I made this connection back when I was writing about Groundhog Day every day that I don't know if it's on purpose, but I in my brain, I like to make those connections. Like a character in one movie, like that actor shows up. I'm like, if he were that other character, this would be an interesting scene. So I just like, whatever. And if he wearing the blue pajamas, because he's just like Phil Connors, his loop is different.
I'll admit, I'm obviously going into this pretty much blind, looking around his room. Like I'm trying to understand this New York apartment that small that he's not allowed a bedroom. And I'm looking around like he's got 2 lounge chairs, the couch, the bookcase, I can't tell what's on the right, but there's more books and Tupperware of knickknacks, and then shelves full of knickknacks, and another. Well, I should say, I guess 3 shelves of books. The guy loves to read. I'll give him that. And that's all I see of his apartment right now, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's just what a weird New York apartment. Unless his living room's not really a living room or something. I don't know. Like,
It's what we see. We see this room, we see the kitchen, we see the bathroom. I don't think we see any other rooms. This is the space.
This is the space.
It's a tiny little place. I mean, I believe it's a set.
yeah, I'm only at this minute seeing this room. I have not seen
Right.
anything else of his apartment. But looking at this, I go like, it's just books in his bed, really, and possibly a bong. I don't know what the orange thing is, but is his character someone you would see that would be doing bong hits?
No.
Then what is that? Do you think that orange thing?
My guess is it's like a novelty beer sign thing. It's like a tall drink.
Oh, the Wishbone
Yeah.
beer drinks.
Could be.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess. But
My thing is he's getting out of the bed though is I've had to sleep in a sofa bed for a few
I'm
years and
sorry.
you don't get out of it by scooting off the foot. You're going to break that thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, he is a skinny guy. I'm not, but still, if you did that every day, you're going to break the frame.
True. You gotta just gotta roll off.
He also pushes the blankets out of the way, which means more work for him when he tries to make the bed.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't think this guy is making the bed.
But I won't spoil it for Dave. He's also shocked by the fact that he's wearing these blue pajamas because he made a really stupid choice yesterday to buy new pajamas, which you should not do when you're going to get your memory erased. That's dumb.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, the first of many mistakes that this character makes. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not the first, as we'll see. He made
Okay,
lots of
yeah,
mistakes
it's not the
previously.
Well, but if you make a mistake, but you don't know you made the mistake,
True.
you've
true.
forgotten. Have you really made a mistake?
Wow.
I'm sorry. Is this movie like Predestination with Ethan Hawke?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
That movie, like, I want to like that movie, but by the time I'd done that movie, I was like, all right, this is a little up its own ass now. Because I'm just like, all right, it's all at this point, the entire cast is just one character in different times of life. That's the twist. And I'm like, did he ever have a coworker? Does anyone else at the job be like, hey man, you're having a lot of existential crises, it looks like, throughout your time?
No.
You changed genders, you became a terrorist, you became the hunter of your own terrorist. You ever think about that? No? All right, man. See you later. This is a single other person that fucking
He needed a personnel department to help with that.
yeah, human resources must have been like, Ethan Hawke, look, you're having a lot of trouble.
Yeah. It's like, you already get a paycheck from us, sir. We can't give you another one.
Yeah. They should have not assigned him to hunt down his future terrorist self. Someone should have figured that one out. You can't do that. It's gonna. That's not good. All right. I'm sorry. Continue with your.
Oh, no,
truck
it's
call.
fine. I actually only watched Predestination for the first time recently. That was a movie that just missed my radar. So yeah, that one's a little bit convoluted in its progress. It fits with these movies though. We cut from inside this small apartment to outside with the sounds of like kids playing in the distance. Jim Carrey finds his car damaged with a giant yellow scrape, but of course blames the car that isn't yellow parked next to it because he's confused. I love the idea of people seeing this without knowing what the movie's about, because you'd be just as confused.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
When I was confused, like, so does he, like, this would be really obvious. I would think there'd be some damage. Now, depending on, what part of the car hit his car, like, the other car is not necessarily as damaged as his, but
Yeah.
I think it would be pretty obvious.
If their bumper left a mark, their bumper has some scrape.
Yeah, he kind of looks around and then he leaves a note. I'm like, I kind of worried about that. Like, if that was the car that did the damage, there'd be no question. You wouldn't need to look around. You'd know who did it right away.
Yep.
And as you point out, I did the yellow paint. So it must have been a school bus.
Yes, it was definitely a school bus, Dave. That's what happened.
Ah, Jesus.
Yes, he leaves a note that says, "Thank you!"
Thank you.
Exclamation point. And I noticed these things, that the sticker on his windshield, I don't know what it's for, but it is dated with an 04, which this movie came out in 2004, and it is Valentine's Day in this scene.
Mhm.
So we have a very specific setting for it. Unlike Groundhog Day, where I had to do the math to figure out it was set in 1991.
Yeah. So see, it tells us Valentine's Day 2004.
Yep.
So we get a picture of this man. He sleeps on a pull-out couch. He drives a car that was not in great condition even before.
Yeah.
Kind of the driver's side door got smashed in. He's in an area we see a lot of boarded up windows. this is not the nice part of town, or if this is the nice part of town, then you don't want to get caught after dark in the bad part of town. This is a guy whose life is not going great.
No.
And he seems to feel that way.
I don't know New York areas, but supposedly he lives in Rockville Center,
Mm-hmm.
although they filmed the exteriors of the apartment in Yonkers. I don't know how nice either of those are. I think I saw Lost in Yonkers. That's how I know things, is from movies.
Yeah.
The neighborhood seemed okay.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't live in Yonkers, he lives in Rockville Center.
Rockville Center isn't too bad. I mean, it's a suburb of New York. I think it's actually Nassau County. So it's on the South Shore of Long Island. Maybe it's an hour train ride outside of New York. So it's kind of built up as far as suburbs go. It's a pretty urban suburb, but it's not a bad area. But speaking of kind of where this is and what kind of area it is, it's a long train ride out to Montauk.
Well, also, it's a long car ride to the train station because they filmed this at Mount Vernon East, which is 1.5 hours from Rockville Center and half an hour from Yonkers. It's not the right train station.
Yeah.
But it looks nice.
Yeah. It looks the part.
Nice and open. It has that bridge across that he can run across to the other platform. It's a good setting.
Yeah. Now, I wasn't able to find a Long Island Railroad schedule from 2004, but the current schedule, it's going to take him about 3 hours to get, and that includes a pretty big wait. Because particularly, so most of the trains, so like a lot of commuter rail systems, it's geared towards commuters that are all going into the major urban area at the morning, and then they're leaving at the evening rush hour. So when he turns to go the opposite direction, there's not too many trains. And this is a weekday. He's going into work. So right now, currently from Rockville Center, he'd have to change in Babylon. There's a 5:32 a.m. out of Rockville Center that gets to Babylon at 6:08, and then there's a 7:17 that gets in at 7:51 to go eastbound. So those are really the only two choices. Now there is a 5:33 westbound because he's waiting for his train when he runs across. So assuming that the schedule was the same, which I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure the schedule's changed in the last 15 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's February in the Northeast. It'd be dark. It's not 5 a.m. So if the train that he catches is the 7:17, there's a 6:58. So the way he's kind of looking impatiently, maybe the train he's supposed to catch is like 20 minutes late. The next train would have been a 7:27 westbound. In either case, he's got to catch a train that's going to take him about 40 minutes or a half hour to get to Babylon. Then he switches to the train to Montauk, and that's about a 2-hour ride. Montauk, if you're not familiar with Long Island, it's a very long island, as the name says. It stretches out east of Manhattan, kind of parallel to the southern coast of Connecticut. You've got Long Island Sound there on the North Shore between Long Island and Connecticut. To the south is the Atlantic Ocean. But Montauk is the very end of this Long Island. So, yeah, he's got about, depending on his wait time to make the connection in Babylon, he's got anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. So if he's playing hooky, it's going to be like 11 a.m. before he even gets to Montauk.
Wow.
And then I don't know if he's got dinner plans, how fast he has to turn around. He's probably going to blow off whatever his evening plans are anyway. Like, this is a commitment. When he says I'm playing hooky and I decided to take the train out to Montauk, it's not like, oh, he's going to miss the morning and then he can be back in the office after lunch. No, he's committed. He's like, this whole day is done. He's not going into work. And it's a kind of a spur of the moment thing. We see he's kind of looking, he's considering his train, and then he takes off and he takes that overpass to the other side of the track to catch the eastbound.
I mean, I guess Montauk is a resort town. I don't know. Like, is it resorty? Like, I can see the big parks, like a lot of places to walk and hike.
I wouldn't call it resort. It's not like the Jersey Shore, but yeah, there's a beach.
But it is seasonal.
It's seasonal. It's a touristy, and it's the kind of thing that if you go there in February, you're going to have the place pretty much to yourself. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's a summer kind of thing. It's
so yeah. I don't know why you go there with your briefcase and get cold winds on the beach. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe he's into cold wind beach, or he's gonna go to the lighthouse. I don't know, or he's gonna look at the radar base, and I don't know. Maybe he read a book about all the Montauk experiments out there. That's all I really know of Montauk is all the interdimensional experiments that happen underneath the radar tower out there.
Yeah.
Now, as I was writing my notes, I didn't look up train schedules. So thank you for out obsessing me on that one, Sean.
Mhm.
I was looking at the geography though, and then I completely gave up on that because I'm like, movies mix and match the locations. But more annoying is that extra with the blue scarf, and she keeps looking at the camera. I'm like, stop looking at the camera. You're not going to get noticed for this scene in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
And yet,
I
You
right,
just
I did
noticed
notice her,
her.
but I don't know her
it
name.
worked.
Oh wow, you're right. Yeah, she really does notice that.
If
from
I
the
could
camera.
if I could figure out, I checked on IMDb to see if she added herself at some point, like the annoying dude from Groundhog Day, who I will get to eventually. Oh, that one guy bugged me so much because he dances in front of the camera and he shows up in the tip top and like put himself on IMDb. Stop it.
The guy with the Penn State sweatshirt.
No, it's a guy who's dressed really nice, and he when Phil and Rita are dancing, the couple that dances between them and the camera.
Yeah.
Is this one guy who clearly wanted to be on camera, and sure enough, he's on the IMDb because he added himself.
And now he's on a podcast.
I'm gonna see if I can get him as a guest.
Wow, now I can't stop noticing Blue Scarf Lady that you brought her up.
See?
No, because it kills me. What kills me? No, it angers me. Angers me to no end. I'm sure she got a direction to like knock it off or something.
Yeah.
Because she's very like plays with her scarf, looks at the
Yeah.
camera, is talking to the extra next to her. The other extra is all right, I'll play along, talks back to her,
Yeah.
bumps into the lady behind her. Then we cut to a train's perspective entering the station, and it just cuts to her just looking straight out and
Mhm.
like not making any effort. So it's like, what happened to the conversation she was having? Like now she's not even looking at the person next to her. Meanwhile, the focus is supposed to be on Jim Carrey, obviously, like looking at the train, debating to take it up to Montauk. But it's like she was just having a conversation, very jovial as a person, and like now, like not even looking at her, just kind of like looking out.
Yep.
It's a nothingness. It's like clearly she got a direction to like knock it off, lady.
She distracted me so much that then I noticed there's an extra off to the right of her who's dressed in like the same outfit as Jim Carrey. He's got that same hat on, and I'm like, did not someone tell you to like take that off?
Yeah, just
Don't look like the star.
I almost wonder if it's like it stands out so much. Like, is it on purpose? Is she like?
It might be
don't
like
know.
so that we don't immediately see Joel in the crowd because we see her.
Well, particularly the scarf, because there's like the very neutral palette. So all these people, they're
brown and black.
brown and black and dark and tan and grays. And part of it is so is it one guy or two guys? There's two guys. There's one guy with like a big red heart box of chocolates. There's one guy that's holding a bouquet of red roses. Like the red really pops against the very neutral background. And then this lady with the very light blue scarf that just jumps out. Like you think someone would run in and just take the scarf from her.
And there's that guy that's standing in the yellow zone. I'm like, you're going to get hit by a train, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
The yellow's there for a reason. Trains are no joke.
Although then I think they use the yellow well in that Joel, when he decides to make his run for it, has to step into the yellow to do it. So it's
right.
It's not a safe thing he's doing.
And I love that with the bag. Speaking of parallels between these films, Joel has a very Tobel-esque run. Very Ned, and then when you see Ned running with his briefcase, when he's, I think it's the second loop, or no, the third loop, second or third loop, when Phil like just runs away from Ned and Ned has to run after him.
Yeah.
He's got a similar kind of thing with the.
That's got to be just like the lanky man run, because you're right.
Yeah.
That's very like it makes it more noticeable how lanky he is.
The lanky man briefcase run.
When he has to hold something so his arms can't be involved. So it's got a very particular gait to it.
Right. With the big blocky shoes.
Now, outside of the extras, we also have the voiceover. Random thoughts for Valentine's Day. Today is a holiday invented by greeting card companies, which isn't technically true.
All right, let me know.
They built it up, but they didn't really invent it.
Yeah. Valentine's Day is sort of Catholic, although there's multiple Saints Valentine, two of which were apparently executed by the same emperor, Claudius II, for different reasons. I like the one that they banned marriage for young men because supposedly single men were better soldiers. And then Valentine kept doing weddings anyway. And so they executed him. But really, it comes from Lupercalia, which is even older, which was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus or Pan that would generally happen on the Ides of February, which is the 15th. Although modern Valentine's Day has kind of been blown up with cards and gifts. But nowadays, any holiday that the capitalism can co-opt, it will co-opt.
Yes.
So Joel is wrong, but he's also not wrong. And then we get a nice timing, I thought, between the announcer and the voiceover, because the announcer says last call and the voiceover continues to make people feel like crap. So the last call interrupted at a great point in the sentence for me. Joel looks around, steps in the yellow, as we've already said, and he runs, doesn't walk, to catch the last call of the train to Montauk and says, I ditched work today, took a train out to Montauk. Announcer says Montauk train boarding on track B, and Joel runs across the bridge like Stephen Tobolowsky. And that's all for minute 2. Now, what do you think is going to happen in this movie, Dave? I mean, you've seen the trailer, so you have some idea.
Yeah, I have seen the trailers, and clearly it's going to go in some kind of sci-fi angle with the losing memories and whatever memories or something. The problem is that I look at this film and I get the same vibe that I do from Garden State, where it's like bland guy meets quirky woman and they have a romance, and it's very early 2000s. And then I usually cross the street when I see that. I usually just go, all right. And I just cross the street. Go, no, miss me with that.
She has a very good speech about that later, where she basically is saying, we're seeing what he thinks of her.
Okay.
And so whether or not she's that, I just hit a blank on the phrase.
The manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah. Clementine is definitely one of those.
Okay.
But the movie does make the effort, and the original script starts with her in the opening scene as her,
okay,
not him. So it's trying to present this person that we might see as one of those is much more than that. And part of the problem is he has trouble seeing who she really is.
I mean, yeah, I did see Fire Days of Summer, so it's not like I avoid all romantic movies about drama and what have you. But I don't know, just I guess whatever phase this was happening early in the 2000s, I was like, I don't want this.
I have a weird relationship with Manic Pixie Dream Girls because I almost always like them in films, but then afterward I see it as a problem with the film too. Mm-hmm. And in this one, as I already said, it's my favorite movie, so I'm okay with this one. But that will come up as a definite talking point once she's in the movie, and she has a great speech about it.
And I guess it's kind of a Mystery Men-esque deconstruction, because I don't know if that term had been coined yet when this film came out, the idea of the manic pixie dream girl. And certainly those kind of characters existed, but I don't know if that phrase had been coined yet. And like you said, she kind of, rebels against that objectification, even if you might think it's a positive one. Like she kind of fights against it and kind of deconstructs it in the same way that Mystery Men sort of deconstructs the Marvel universe.
Christ, you're really trying to sell me on this film.
Yeah.
Just making an observation.
I mean, look, I'm the guy who watched Being John Malkovich, and I got like the worst, and like the information and the moral I got out of it was like the worst one, because I was always like, oh, well, you could just jump in their brain and then just do horrible things. And my friend was like, I don't think that's the point of the movie. I was like, you could just do anything.
It's the same with the time loop. I'm always like, I get in a time loop and I know there's no consequences. I'm going to do something bad eventually, probably. But I don't know if I'd trust it enough to think there'd never be consequences.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just one of these things where I like, Charlie Kaufman, I hope you're having a great time. But just like, I don't know, like I look through his stuff. I go, this isn't my thing. But I respect that you gotta have different art out there. I'll think about it. I don't know. I don't want to be a Charlie Kaufman guy. I just don't want to do it.
Well, that's fair. We can't all be Charlie Kaufman guys. Now that you brought it up, though, Sean, I'm stuck looking in my notes for Into the Night because I did research on Manic Pixie Dream Girls as a term and femme fatale as a term, and I'm like, did I have notes on who used it first? I'm checking.
Oh God! I mean, like, I guess I don't know. Is Michelle Pfeiffer? I guess she's I don't know if she's really
okay. I found it. The term was coined officially by Nathan Rabin in an AV Club piece about the movie Elizabethtown in 2007. So technically, Clementine can't be a manic pixie dream girl under the term, but she does fit.
Yeah, she was one before there was a term for it.
Nor could Natalie Portman in Garden State, because that was before this.
Oh my God, there it is. Yeah, Elizabethtown. When did that come out?
2007.
No, it was 2005. Google says 2005.
Oh, well, the PC wrote is in 2007. So
and clearly everybody wanted to do this type of story. I don't know.
I mean, one of my other examples, here my Into the Night notes, is Sarah Jessica Parker in LA Story. And that's like what, the late 80s or early 90s. I forget what year that came out. It's a common thing.
I mean, going back to Breakfast at Tiffany's, Audrey Hepburn is a manic pixie dream girl.
Yes.
The tropic is listed long before we had a term for it.
Which all comes down to stuff I talked about in Michael Myers Minute as well, with, I forget what they're called, the introductions, where this guy takes introductions of women in screenplays and then just changes the name.
Look, I'm not a Cameron Crowe
men
guy.
don't write women well and don't introduce them well. So of course, what are they going to create for their characters? Some weird fantasy. And half of those, actually, with nerdy weirdos that write scripts, probably more than half of those are going to be what we call manic pixie dream girls.
Oh my God. Did Cameron Crowe at Aloha? How is he not under arrest?
Well, he only wrote it. He didn't do the casting. Wait, no, I guess he did, because he directed it also, didn't he?
Oh God. Yeah. See, I'm not a Cameron Crowe guy. I don't want to be a Cameron Crowe guy. I don't want to be a Charlie Kaufman guy. I guess I'm a Shane Black guy, but I still haven't seen Predators, because I was like, no, The Predator. Predators is fine.
Yeah, The Predator.
The Predator.
The
Yeah.
Predator.
I haven't seen that one yet either.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's one of these things where I go, what was going on, Shane? Like, I don't even want to see the movie. I want to see the documentary about what's wrong with the movie. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. We need to get the episode of How Did This Get Made on The Predator.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've connected the films together. We've talked about all three. Any more thoughts on, I guess, this minute for you, Dave, or the film for you, Sean?
I think Dave should see this film.
Yeah.
It's a good film. I think he'll like it. That's my thought.
You know, this is like when Niall got me on for number 23. And I'm like, man, if I wish I was high or drunk watching this, because that would have made more sense of the film.
That would help for that movie, yeah.
God, you know what I really wish is I think I might have said it, where it was like, I rather would have had the noir Jim Carrey storyline that he thought he was in during the number 23. That was cooler than anything else in the movie. Like, yeah, what if we just had Jim Carrey as a monologuing the noir detective? Why can't I just have that movie?
That would be good, yeah.
Yeah. But here we go.
He does have a lot of voiceover in this, but it is not a film noir.
Yeah.
Although it is occasionally a dark film in tone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about this? If I watch it in our Facebook group chat, I will talk about it. If I do watch it, I'll let you know.
I'd like that. Well, maybe we'll have you on again as well sometime to talk about it if you do watch it.
All right.
Otherwise, you're banned. It'll just be Sean by himself.
That's happy. It's also happy.
Until then, where else can they hear you talk about other movies, Dave?
Yeah, if you want to talk about comic book movies, I'm always there to talk about 5 Minutes of Mystery, where I talk about the 1999 superhero comedy ensemble Mystery Men. And yeah, as we discussed earlier, I was the co-host of Groundhog Minute with Sean. Sean, you take it from here.
Yeah, so you can find out about that stuff. So I've got my central site is catandshawn.org. That's CAT and Sean, SEAN.org. And there I link to my current show, Next Scene Podcast. I link to the Groundhog Minute, link to the Spinal Tap Minute, where I covered the movie This is Spinal Tap, 1 minute at a time with Heidi Bennett. And I link to a bunch of other stuff, including all my guest appearances. So you want to go back and listen to my guest appearance on 5 Minutes of Mystery. You can listen to my guest appearances on the Groundhog Day After Day After Day podcasts. That podcast that covered Groundhog Day one loop at a time or 1 day at a time.
It's time to rewind, yeah.
Or any of my other guest appearances. I list them all and other podcast stuff all at catandshawn.org. So check that out.
I'm going to jump in. I forgot. You know what? I'll do one link. If you want, I got a Facebook group called the Champion City Lakeside Diners Club, where it's mostly just me right now posting updates to the restoration of the Herkimer Battle Jitney. So at least I got some news. Like I have like no real news to present, because no one's talking about doing an actual movie or a TV show sequel to this yet. Like Disney hasn't picked it up, nor is DC. No one else wants to do that. So at least some guy is doing restorations of the Herkimer Battle Jitney. So I got that.
Yeah,
nice.
You got that going for you.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Exactly. Speaking of Groundhog Day after day after day, it's time to rewind. The host of that show will be the guest next week on these 3 shows.
Oh, there you go. That's good timing.
So thank you for listening, everyone. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Minute is just one part of an existential trilogy of podcasts. Tune in every Tuesday for Minutia Ex Machina, every Wednesday for the Groundhog Day Project Minute by Minute, and every Thursday for more Eternal Sunshine. Follow this show on Twitter at spotless_minute. And on Instagram and Facebook, it's Spotless Minute. This has been a production of Lemming Drop Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drop Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows and get a bonus show, Twin Peaks Radio, at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.